This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the CEO of Hannan Metals, Mr. Michael Hudson. Mike, how are you this morning?
I'm top of the world down under, as I like to say. Gerardo, thanks for having me back.
The last several times that you and I have spoken, we've talked about the consistency of your new discoveries. You have a basin scale project, a top 10 landholding in Peru with commodity exposure to copper, to gold, to silver, and as I said, an entire basin. We've all been waiting for what I consider to be the next major catalyst, which is going to be letting the drill bit see what's underneath. We know there's copper and gold and silver showings all over this basin. And you just announced here a little less than a week ago a milestone announcement for the company with the completion and submission of the Declaración de Impacto Ambiental, which is, of course, the DIA, or the Environmental Impact Statement, at the Tabalosos East Copper Silver Project in Peru. Now, this, of course, will allow for that drilling that all of us are so excited about. I would love for you to provide the context and the details, and I want to congratulate you and the team because I know it's a long time coming.
Thanks, Gerardo. It's a procedural step, but a really important step. And for those who understand the process, and you do, in Peru, it is the moment really that we're waiting for, other than the approval process, which is now going on. But this DO has taken something like 9 or 10 months to work through. It's a very extensive process of community and stakeholder negotiation and discussions. It's a very detailed archaeological survey that was required, and we had to get separate certification from the Ministry of Culture around the areas in which we want to work, and that was the absence of any significant cultural remains. It was intensive environmental monitoring conducted by third-party experts, water, air, soil. So it's a very extensive process to get drill permits in Peru. And we are working in areas that are frontier areas. This is the opportunity, but also the challenge. I mean, we're working in the high jungle over the top of the Andes in the eastern side as you sort of work towards the Amazon basin. But, we're still up in quite mountainous territory. But it is in habitats that are new for exploration. And as a consequence, we want to make sure we do that work properly, respectfully, and get the approvals correctly. And then the DIA is actually quite an extensive area. It's not just a little drill pad that we're talking. We're talking about an area that's 9 kilometers by 3 kilometers, where we've got this extensive pancake of copper mineralization that extends through this basin. Now, that it's if your listeners were to do the target exercise, which I'm not really allowed to do, but what I can do is provide widths and grades and scale. So that 9 kilometers by 3 kilometers, and we've got a copper horizon that averages 1 meter or just a little less than 1 meter at a couple of percent copper and an ounce silver. You can start to think of the opportunity of the scale of that target, and it's only 4% of our land holding in this area. That is fully funded, by the way, by JOGMEC, the Japanese government, who are earning into a $35 million project, or earning, I should say. So big area, very compelling target. The drilling will be the first look at how continuous this is into the third dimension. We've demonstrated great continuity in the second dimension, or its surface, from soil sampling, from trenching, from the LiDAR surveys that we've flown over the area, and really this is the testing the key thesis. And if we can demonstrate continuity of of the mineralized horizon and the grade, which we see in 2 dimensions, into the 3rd dimension, I think we're really off to the races here.
You talk in the most recent release about 10 drill platforms that you're planning for to test the extensive copper shale horizon with holes up to 500 meters depth. Do you have an idea or a guesstimate as to how many meters you plan on drilling?
Yeah, we can drill up to 40 platforms with the DIA. So that's not 40 drill holes, that's 40 platforms. So you can sit on a pad or a platform and drill multiple holes in like a spider's legs, if you like, from one platform. So the DIA actually gives us a huge amount of flexibility over that large area to drill a lot of holes. So from a permit perspective, we've got the ability to drill a lot if it works. Now we spoke about the initial drilling of 2,500 meters, which is the first test and the first budget that we presented to JOGMEC. That will be something like a dozen holes or something like that. Holes will be very shallow from the sort of 100 meters depth to up to 500 meters depth as we test that 3rd dimension at various levels. So we've got the ability to drill more and the budget flexibility to drill more if it works. But the first step is to give it a pretty good shot. 2,500 meters is a good first program, and if we like what we see, we will continue.
The copper mineralized shale target at San Martin averages, I believe, 0.9 meters thickness at roughly 2% copper, 1.9% copper, and 27 grams per ton silver. That's eerily close to the average grades and even a bit better than the average width of KGHM's project, which of course is one of the leading copper sources in the world, right? Copper silver source in the world. And so would you like to speak to that a bit?
Yeah, it's always important to explore for something that can be potentially mineable. And as geologists, we're economic geologists, we've always got to keep that, of course, in mind. So people in the copper business are generally used to seeing copper porphyries that extend for hundreds, if not thousands of meters at sort of the 0.5% copper range, and sometimes a little bit of gold is thrown in. What we have here is a different style. The second most prolific style of copper in the world is a sediment-hosted copper style. It's got some great analogues, the Central African copper belt. But what you reference there is the Kufa in Poland and northern Germany, which is another basin scale deposit or series of deposits over vast areas, hundreds and hundreds of kilometers, like we see in Peru. And the key thicknesses there, the mineralized zone in the Kufa ranges from 40 centimeters right through to 5 meters. The discovery hole was a couple of meters at 1.5% copper, down at over 600 meters in the 50s. So we're within the range. The grades at San Martin are actually very good, right? We like the grade of the system. We do see the mineralized horizon going from those sort of thinner zones right through to multiple meters of thickness, which average at the moment at that 0.9 meters. So it's all within the range of what we see in some of the best analogues. And, the Kufa today, KGHM is the largest silver producer on Earth today from those deposits that have been, mined in the modern day since the 1960s, but go back to Roman times. Here in San Martin, we're talking about a virgin discovery, essentially, that has had a few artisanal mines on it over the years, but you can count them on your hand, and the grade looks very good, and it comes back to that continuity question, which we have demonstrated in 2D, and let's see if it works in the 3rd dimension with this drill program that's coming up.
Exciting times. Congratulations, Mike. I'm looking forward to more news. This, of course, covers the San Martin JV with Jogmec, but of course does not cover the roughly 2/3 of 100% controlled tenure by Hannan Metals, correct?
Correct. Correct. We've got about a third of our portfolio with Jogmec and 2/3 in our own right, and we'll talk about that separately another day. But we're equally as excited about the new frontiers we're opening up for copper gold porphyry exploration a few hundred kilometres south of the San Martin project.
There's also a little project in Ireland that I still little like. It's a zinc project, and with zinc here right near the $2 a pound level, let's make some time to talk about that here in the near future.
I'd love to. It's been a while since we've been able to talk zinc, and it is zinc's moment.
I'm also looking for a great excuse to go back to Ireland, so we'll chat.
Sounds great.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, Gerardo.